What's up, guys? Jake Sleesman, Blue Collar Outdoors, and today we're checking the new Exodus MMT for weight consistency to their tolerances, checking to see, make sure they're keeping up with them through a dozen arrows with us right here. Stay tuned. Now, to keep this fair, what we're going to do is no field points on there, because as you guys know, field points themselves have a tolerance as well. So we are testing these bad boys right here, because if I remember correctly, they hold a plus or minus 2 thou tolerance throughout for weight. So we're going to check that to be the case. I have my scale here, my arrow holder to make it easy. Then I'll grab the GoPro, take it over here, put it down so we can see exactly what these weigh. I should get a little piece of paper here and write it down. I think I'll get the phone out and I'll put it into a text message so we can keep all the weights all the way down. Let's get right to it. Now we're gonna put this on. It'll add 100 grains. Tear that. So now we're set. So we have it recording. This is how I'll have it so you can see it, and then I'll put it in a text message, the different weights 1 through 12, and we'll check the tolerances here, make sure they're up to snuff. This is how we'll do it. Just so you know, this is how every arrow will be. Find the center point, well, the focal point. That's how you weigh your arrow. You want to make sure you're not touching here, touching over there, all that good stuff. So let's get right to it. Okay, so I didn't have it tared. Now we're even. We're zeroed. Nothing's touching. Sitting at 356.4. With this table, I got to give it a second, let it rest. Put this arrow back. Next one up. Find that center. Get that centered. We're at 355 on the money. So that's within a grain and a half right there of the first one. Make sure that's back to zero. It is. 355 again. Wow. Okay, so that one's spot on to that last one. Looking good so far in the first three. 355.6. So these are all, so far 4 of them, very good. Let's keep her rolling here. 355 on the money. That's the third arrow that's sitting true right at that 355. It did move a little bit. Let me check it. Yeah, 355.2. Make sure to keep that 0.2 in there. Okay, next arrow up. She's at 0. 356 is what we're at there. Oh, 355.6 is what we're at there. You always want to make sure when you're weighing arrows, you make sure you keep checking this. Make sure it's all flush. See right there, it's -4. Oh, it's because I'm hitting the table. That's my bad. That's 0. Oh, phone went off. Shook it a little bit. Okay, so that one's rested in 355.6. So I gotta say, so far these are really tight. I mean, most of them are almost identical. Oh, that's touching. That's touching. That's money. Well, there's a heavy one. We're sitting at 357 right there. That's the heaviest one yet, and that's the biggest spread we've seen yet. That would give you, as long as one's not under 354, that means they're in tolerance to each other. 355. Man, that's impressive. They're holding true right here. Oh, shoot. Might have our first arrow. Yeah, it's sitting 354.6. Then we have another 357. Now the weight may move. I'm typing on my phone and I'm seeing that it does adjust. That one was at 357. And the last arrow, 355.2. So now I'll type that in. Okay. So that gives us our dozen arrows. Okay, so breaking it down, that is all the weights. The lightest was at 354.6. The heaviest was at 357. So on their website, it says not only do you get arrows built with the same jig for exact consistency, all shafts and components are carefully sorted for build tolerances plus or minus 2 grains per dozen. So in our test, weighing them out, all even, tared, you've seen it all. Hopefully you could see the weights on the GoPro, but the lightest we have was 354.6 grains. The heaviest was 357. Out of the 12, 8 of them were 355, 4 of which were 355 on the money. Some were 0.2, 0.6 was a common one. We had 2 at 357. So throughout the whole dozen arrows, measuring just the arrows themselves, no field points, their plus or minus 2 per dozen was inaccurate based on the fact that we had a 354.6 to a 357. Now that's only 0.4 off, so it is out. So in my dozen, my tolerance range from 1 to 12 was 2.4. So in my dozen of arrows, based on my weights right here, now I was out of that just by a touch, because 354.6 to 357 is a little over 2 grains. Realistically, is that minimal difference going to make a difference in how this arrow flies? No, but it is out of tolerance based on what they specify on their website. So I have to say that my dozen were a touch out of the 2 grains per dozen. Nonetheless, 90% of these arrows were dead money. They seem to like that 355 to 356.2, so they're all really, really close. I just had 3 oddballs, and by oddballs, they're really not even that much different than the other arrows. So realistically, I will take that 100%, but I will say this, it was out of the 2 grains per dozen. With that said, I got a ton to film today. Drop your comments below. Let me know what you thought of this test. Let me know what your hunting setup is for this coming season. Let me know what you think about high speed versus FOC, or if you're like me and you want to be right in the middle, drop your comments below. We'll talk about it. As always, share these videos with anyone that you think would find benefit from watching these tests. We do everything here. This one's a little different, but it had to be done with the tight tolerances they specified. I had to test it. Mine was a touch out. That's why you test them. Anyways, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. This is a no BS, honest performance talks the rest walks channel. We don't care about the brand. We don't care about the price. All we care about is performance. That's all that should ever matter to a hunter. When you go afield, you need to have the utmost certainty that your setup is going to yield an ethical kill. That is why we do it. That's why we do the testing. That's why we have a channel. But guys, Jake Sleesman, Blue Collar Outdoors. Time to film some more.